Interesting. Nick, what would you be taking away as your first impressions coming to Nigeria? It is your first time, isn't it?
I've been to Nigeria several times before over the last few years, so I've been watching it evolve. I was not here for the last elections in 2011, but I visited quite a few times since. And, you know, it's been quite an exciting few years in Nigeria. Clearly, the economic circumstances now are not so easy. The whole security situation up in the northeast has posed some real challenges, but these problems are resolvable. And my impression is that Nigerians are very resilient people. They can take the rough with the smooth, and they come out smiling at the end of it. So I think people are ready for this process. But above all, I'll tell you what has really struck me, and that is there's a real commitment amongst people to this being a democracy, to it being a democratic event, that it should not be manipulated, perverted, distracted by violence or anything. People want Nigeria to be a democracy. You know, there's been rough times in the past, been dictatorships and coups. People don't want that anymore. And that has struck me very strongly. And I think, therefore, people, I hope, will have confidence that INEC's commitment is to make Nigeria's democracy work. And therefore will trust it's going to do its best, wait until it announces the results, and those will be the results that everybody should accept.
You know, I was just thinking, David Cameron at some point said that Boko Haram, it's a menace that must be jointly fought, not only by Nigerians, but given support to Nigeria by the international community, including the US and the UK. What are your thoughts concerning Borno, Yobe and Adamawa states where we have internally displaced people?
Yeah, no, it's true. The 28 members of the European Union, who I represent, are firmly committed to support Nigeria and the other neighboring countries in getting rid of this scourge of Boko Haram, which is vicious, it's brutal, there's nothing religious about it in practice, and it is a threat not just to Nigerians, but to their neighbors and even to the international community. Now they are linking to some of these other jihadist organizations. So we're very concerned about the situation in Borno, Yobe, Adamawa. And my last visit to Nigeria was actually to discuss exactly this with the security officials concerned and see what help we can give. And I've been to the neighboring countries as well with the same objective. We're very pleased that progress is now being made to drive Boko Haram back. We're very pleased that the cooperation with the neighboring states and maybe setting up a multinational force is being actively considered, and we will support that multinational force once it is set up. It's necessary to do this as a cooperative enterprise. None of us individually can sort out all these problems. We want there to be a collective international effort to tackle this. It's a big problem. It's been there for well over a year, even 2 years, this problem. So now let's work together to sort it out. The sufferings that the people of the region have endured, the abduction of the Chibok girls, the killing of many other people, we have to bring this to an end. We have to help restore law, order, good government to these states in the northeast so that people can just get on with their lives in security and safety. We're committed to that. We're willing to do whatever we can to help with that process, and once the election is over, the new government is in place, we'll be working closely with them to try and help the situation there.
Well, basically, looking at what Gimba has asked, talking about the displaced persons, INEC has made provisions for them to vote in their camps. And now we get in the card readers. These are, excuse me, these are some of the new additions we're getting to see in Nigeria's election. What form of other additions you'd love to see in 2019 as we move on? Because we're trying to build a stronger institution. Now, the process is already on. We have these ones in place. Moving on, by way of looking into the future, 4 years from now, what would you love to see?
No, that's a good question. It's one that our observer mission will be looking at as well. At the end of each election, it not only says how they saw the election, but what improvements can be made, because there's always room for improvement. After the 2011 election, we made quite a number of recommendations, a fair few of which have been acted on, and I hope will lead to a smoother process this time. But democracy is something that doesn't happen overnight. It's a learning process for everybody involved. And therefore, I think each election will have its own character. Each election draws on the lessons from the last one. You were saying earlier, you know, some of the things, the violence that broke out after the 2011 elections, we really hope that won't happen this time. And I think some lessons have been learned about how to try and prevent it happening. I know INEC recognize it's important for them to deliver a result as quickly as possible, so people are not left in a limbo wondering what's going on. All these things are important. I think 2019, I hope, will be even more peaceful, even smoother. It's a question of everybody trusting the process and trusting the result. And that, I hope, will build up over time. And each one is a learning process for the new generation of voters. And this time, compared to 2011, there will be millions of voters who are now eligible to vote for the first time, young people. I really hope they go and vote. It's everybody's responsibility to do your democratic duty and go and vote. And the young people, just as important as the old people, to know what their view is.
Well, Nick Westcott, would like to thank you so very much for spending time with us via Skype from our Abuja studios. We do hope to get back to you pretty much later when the elections start. I want to see that hat again.
All right, I'll be very happy to come back and tell you what I've seen when I've seen it. But
all right.
Right now, I'm ready for battle.
You're ready for work, ready to go. See you then. Well, Team Westcott speaking with us via Skype. He's the Managing Director for Africa and, well, leading the EU observer mission to the country. Well, he says, well, there are 90 of them. Now, basically, to the real deal. In about, let's look at it. Yes, 11 minutes from now, the process will be on in Nigeria, leading up to the big election day, which is the election to the presidency. That's the presidential election as well as the national